It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging out with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. Alfonso Ribeiro is a famous American actor, director, and comedian, most well known for his character Carlton Banks, cousin of Will Smith on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Alfonso interviews with the Atlanta Black Star and was asked, in an episode of The Fresh Prince, it struck home for me when Carlton was attempting to pledge. And then there was this whole scene where he basically was being told that he wasn't black enough to pledge. And Carlton gave his emotional speech about being black, that it isn't something that he tries to be, but it's who he is. Have you ever experienced any of that feeling personally throughout your own life? So let me set the scene for you. It's Phi Beta Gamma, and Will Smith and Carlton is joining the fraternity. They have already pledged. Will finds out that he's made it in, but his cousin Carlton did not. Will asks why. The frat president says it's because of the Ralph Lauren, the shirts, the wingtip shoes, and the corporate America. Will said, but he makes straight A's. He give 150%. The fraternity president then said he's a prep school Bel-Air brat sellout. So Will Smith shakes his head, goes over and tells his cousin, let's go, Carlton. I didn't make it in. Carlton's appalled. He stops to talk to the fraternity president to ask why. He said, the fraternity president said, no, Will made it in, but you didn't. He said, why? And the frat president says, because you're a sellout. He says, so you think I'm a sellout because I have a big house, clothes, and the music that I listen to? He says, I'm disappointed, man. I'm black. We all have the same challenges. We're supposed to stick together. So it looks like you're the real sellout. And then they leave. Now, when they leave, another fraternity member says that they're going to get rid of the fraternity president because that is not what the fraternity believes in. So I want to break this scene down a bit for you to see, why didn't this fraternity president want someone like Carlton, someone that studies hard, does everything his parents tells him to do? They reward him with lavish gifts for his great performance. He stayed out of trouble. He was preparing for college, like we do a lot of times these days as college prep in high school. They're already taking college courses. This is how we have top earners, top people in their fields taking over the industry in record numbers because we're pushing our kids. So that's why the fraternity member says, dude, you gotta go because this doesn't represent excellence. This man did everything that he was supposed to do, everything that we asked him to do and more. So why did he think he didn't fit in? You know what? Carlton did stand out. He represented excellence, which meant everything below that standard would have stood out to the women. Been like, how come you don't study hard like Carlton? How come you don't dress like Carlton? How come you don't have goals like Carlton? I believe that Carlton was intimidating to the fraternity president because he did represent excellence. Carlton says, it still happens almost every day, unfortunately. I'm in a mixed relationship and I get things and looks and comments constantly. And I find it very interesting because you see a lot of things on social media where people say things and people have positions and perspectives. And it's not easy to make that choice because you're not at home in any home. I'm never going to be white and I'm never going to be fully supported in the black house. So I'm in my own little world with support from almost no one to be in love with someone I've fallen in love with. How does it make sense? It doesn't. We all want to live in a world where everyone is accepted for being and loving and living the way that they choose to live. I would support any person that wants to live in a world they want to live in. I'll support a racist person to live in a world they want to live in. They don't have to be around me. But if that's the world they want to live in, they should have the right to live in that world. I live in a mixed world. I love in a mixed world. I live in a black world, and I love in that world. I feel everyone should be supported. I deal with it all the time. I laugh at the fact that I'm a mainstream television host, been in the game forever, and I could purchase tickets to go to the BET Awards. So it is what it is. I'm not going to purchase the ticket, but I'm also not going to, I guess I'm doing it now by putting them on Front Street. But at the end of the day, if that's the view they take, then that's the view they take. I can't change their mind. All I can do is live my life and be me and be the best version of me and continue to love everybody equally and let it fall where it falls. So what is Alfonso saying? He's saying that each and every day he faces racial discrimination in that he is not a white man. He's a black man. He'll never be a white man dating a white woman. He also says he's a black man who's not accepted in his own race. So he says it's just him and his love and his children, and that he needs more support. He says his supporters are few. He also says he would buy tickets to the BET Awards, but he won't. And I think it's because he doesn't want to force himself into that space. So he also says he feels like pretty much the oddball out because people are always talking about him, whether it's online or in person. So what are some solutions for Mr. Alfonso Ribeiro? Well, I think you're going to have to begin to build yourself up. Reading different books on the topic, joining different social clubs, a church, groups on Facebook. Find people who think like you. And then understand that everybody is working on themselves and have to accept and love themselves no matter what anybody says about them. And they have to be secure within themselves. And then when it comes to being invited to the BET Awards, you need to do more acting. Submit yourself to more roles outside of your stereotypical norm. Aw, that wasn't that nice, but let's be honest. Many of the women that these men choose do not like black women. So if you try to bring somebody with a nasty attitude into a space around your people, just like if you brought anybody else who had a nasty sneering attitude, they're not gonna be welcome. And we know what's being said behind closed doors, cause y'all come and tell us. So if you don't like us, don't come around. Thank you and have a blessed day. This has been the T on Interracial Relationships. My name is Miss T. You can find me on Facebook and YouTube. Have a good evening.